Hi and good day everyone. My name is Nur Ain Munirah binti Mazilan, metric number S71223. In this video, I will show you how to answer all query using Microsoft Access. First, we need to create a blank database. And then, double click on the ID and rename the column. I will change the name to customer ID. So, to answer all the query, we need to create a table, use the data given first. So, that is why we need to create this table. Next, I will change to customer name. For the third column, I will change to city as a short text. And state. And the last column, I will change it to credit limit. We need to make sure the data type for each column is correct to run the query. So we just need to fill in all the data to the column that we just create. I will fast forward this part of the video so we can keep things moving and get to the good stuff quickly. Since we have already created the first table, we need to save it as the customer table. To do that, just double click on table first and save as customer and click OK. So the first table is done. We need to create another table. For the next table, we can just click on create and table, and it will show the same like the first table. So we need to rename it as item ID and then for the next column, we need to choose the data type as short text and rename it as description. For item ID, it is a short text. And then for the third column is standard course, but we name it as STD course. And then for the fourth column is list price and the data type is currency. For the last column, the data type is number and we need to rename it as quantity on hand. Okay, just like before, it's time to fill in all the columns in the customer table with the data that we have. So for this part, I will make it quicker, so I will fast forward it like the first table. Okay, for the last table, I will demonstrate how to check the data types. First, make sure to save your table. I will save it as sales inventory, and I already clicked on the view tab, so we just need to click on the view tab and then select design view, And we will see that the list of the fields and right next to each one, it assigns data type. This is where we can easily check if the data types are correct for each of the columns. So after we already check, we can click OK and we can just fill in the column like in this table. We can see that there is a common issue if we're trying to enter a duplicate invoice number when your invoice column is set as a primary key. So we need to redefine the index to permit duplicate entries and try again. We need to click on the View tab and select Design View. As we can see, we cannot. So we need to change one of the problematic invoice numbers to a different value first. So we can see the field name and the data type. So we can see a primary key on the invoice and we need to unclick the primary key and open the data sheet view. After that, we can change the invoice to the number back and we can key in the data like user. In this part, I will also make it quicker, so I will fast forward the video. Alright, let's move on to our first query. Now I will show the solution for query A. So first, we need to create a new query and add tables. In the show table, we select inventory tables and the sales inventory table. From the inventory table, double click key of this item ID, description, and quantity on hand. For the sales inventory table, we need to double click on item ID table and we need to apply the criteria for the row under the quantity on hand column is greater equal 100. And this query will now display all items from our inventory that have a quantity of 100 or more on hand. So now let's move on to query B. So we need to add tables to query design and selecting inventory, sales inventory, and sales. We need to create a relationship in sales inventory invoice field and sales invoice field. We need to link them. And then we need to select fields under the sales inventory. We need to double click on item ID, sales price, quantity, and also invoice. In the criteria row under the invoice column, we need to type 103 invoice. Make sure to include the double apostrophe and we run it. And we can see this is the answer. Next is query C. So we need to add 4 tables: customer, sales, sales inventory, and inventory. We need to make sure all necessary relationships between these tables are correctly linked in the query design view. And then from the customer table, we need to double click to add customer name. And from the sales table, double click to add salesperson and totals. So we can see the two of this is grouped by. And for the criteria, we need to double apostrophe Martinez under the salesperson sales and run it. And we can see this is the customer name and associated salesperson, where the salesperson is Martinez. Next is query D. So we need to add table sales and customer and make sure there is a relationship or linked. And then for the field, we need to click on the sales tables, invoice, sales date, salesperson. And for the customer table, we need to click on customer name. And lastly, click on amount for the sales table. And totals. In the third row, under the amount column, we need to choose descending. This will show the highest amount first. For the criteria, we need to write greater than 1,500. And when we run, we can see this is the amount, the salesperson, and the customer name specifically for sales transaction, where the amount is greater than 1,500. Next, for query E, we need to add inventory tables and sales inventory tables. Under sales inventory, we need to click on invoice and item ID. Next, description on inventory, sales price on sales inventory, list price on inventory, and quantity from sales inventory. In the next empty field column, in the query design, we need to create a new calculated field. So we need to write extension, bracket, and square bracket on sales price, asterisk symbol, extension bracket, and square bracket on quantity. In the criteria row under the sales price column, we need to type less than, greater than, square bracket, inventory, point, square bracket, list price. And we can run it. Next is query F. We need to add 3 tables: inventory, sales inventory, and sales. We need to link invoice, sales inventory, and sales. And under the sales inventory, we need to click on invoice. Under sales, we need to click on sales date. Under inventory, we need to click on item ID. Under sales inventory, we need to click on sales price. And under sales inventory also, we need to click on quantity. So in the next empty field column, we need to create a calculated profit margin. So profit margin, extension and square bracket, sales price, minus standard cost, divide square bracket sales price. In the sort row, under the new column that we just created, we need to choose descending and run. And we can see this query will now show the key sales details along with the calculated profit margin for each item, sorted from the highest profit margin to the lowest. Next, for query G, so we need to add three tables: inventory, sales inventory, and sales. We need to make a relationship between sales inventory invoice and sales invoice. And then under sales inventory, we need to double click on invoice, sales, double click on sales date, sales inventory, double click on item ID, and also sales price and quantity. And we need to create a calculation profit, extension and square bracket, sales price minus standard cost multiply by quantity. In the sort row under the new column that we just created, we need to choose descending and we can run it. This will show the extended profit for each sale line item, sorted from the highest profit to the lowest profit. Next, for the H query, we need to number our sales in October 2018, so we need to add sales tables only. And for the first field, we need to write number underscore of underscore sales. And count double expression and square bracket amount and under sales table we need to add sales date. So in the total part, we need to choose expression for number of sale, and for the sales date, we need to choose where. In the criteria row under the sales date column, we need to type between hashtag 01 slash 10 slash 2080 slash 2080 hashtag and hashtag 31st slash 10 slash 2080 hashtag. And after that, we can click the run button to execute the query. This query will now show the total number of sales that occurred during the month of October 2018. The last query is I. So we need to add customer tables and click on state and customer ID. In the query design, click the totals button and we can see the group by, and under customer ID we change it to count. In the criteria row under the state column, we need to type double apostrophe AZ and we can write it. And after that, we can save the name query 1 as a query A until I. So that's all from me. Thank you.